Warren here at the Kitchen Classroom, doing a dish that falls into the category which I've done some other dishes of, which is things I didn't like as a kid, but I like a lot now. Now, sometimes those recipes are recipes that I just simply didn't like, and now in the exact same way I do like. And some are more of, I've modified them, updated them to a way that makes them enjoyable. This is sort of in the mix, and when I post the recipes on the blog post, we'll have the original recipe and the updated version. We are doing what I consider the modern version of this recipe today in this demo. And what we're doing is a white sweet potato pudding. Also could be done as a pie, but we're doing it as a casserole. This is definitely an option for your Thanksgiving or other holiday table. White sweet potatoes aren't as common, and so you could totally use just a regular sweet potato for this dish instead. But this is a dish my grandmother used to make based on getting Hayman sweet potatoes off the Eastern Shore. My grandparents went over there pretty regularly and would often bring back a bushel or more, and we'd eat them throughout the season until either we ate them all or the last ones went bad. So white sweet potatoes, very similar to a regular sweet potato, except for when you cut it, the inside is white. It does have a nice thin skin on it. So originally this recipe has a peeled sweet potato, but the skin is nice and has so many nutrients in it, we're gonna leave it in. And what we've done is taken this from a dessert level sweetness to sort of a hybrid, maybe a little sweeter than your typical casserole dish, but not so sweet it wouldn't be appropriate on a side dish at your Thanksgiving table. So to make this, we're gonna start out by making our sort of custard base. And we have 3 eggs. I'm gonna crack those in and try not to get too much shell. All right, got the shell out. And we have some brown sugar. You can do this with white sugar as well. I like the little extra character that molasses coating on the brown sugar gives. Makes it almost like it's a little sweeter without using as much sugar. So we're gonna whisk this together. All the sugar's broken up, and it's nice and even. All right, to that, we're gonna add our salt, our cinnamon, our vanilla, and some nutmeg. Now we're gonna grate this just to eyeball whatever feels good to us, because we're not buying pre-grated nutmeg, so we're just gonna eyeball it and do what feels right. With that whisked in, now we have our heavy cream. Now this recipe originally used evaporated milk, which is still readily available and a good product, but I don't keep evaporated milk on hand, but I do have milk and cream often, and I think it's just a little easier to use that. The need for using evaporated milk is sort of past. So this is just our regular whole milk, 2% would work fine too. Don't really want to use skim, and we use so much heavy cream, skim's not really saving you anything at that point. So that's our custard base. Now we gotta get our sweet potatoes ready. We have our old standard box grater. And we're just gonna grate these on the big holes, being careful not to grate our fingers. I definitely consider a box grater one of the more dangerous kitchen tools. So you should just be steady and not worry about speed, just be nice firm grip and let it do the work. Now we're going for 4 cups grated, so I got probably more sweet potatoes here than I'm gonna need to grate, but I always wanna have a little extra. Start the measuring. So I got about 1.5 cups out of 1 sweet potato. Again, if you really wanted to, you could peel these sweet potatoes. And if you also wanted to, you could run them through a food processor with the grater on. It's gonna be just fine. I feel like I get sometimes too long of shreds on that. So if they came out really long, I'd maybe wanna run a knife through them just to break them up into smaller shreds, not so long, stringy ones. My grandmother often did this and put it in a pie shell to bake it, but also did it just as a pudding or in a casserole dish, which is what we're gonna do today. I think it's equally delicious either way, but I don't think it needs the pie shell, so why put that extra effort in making a pie shell and all that when you can just have a delicious pudding on its own. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, sweet potato everywhere. I'm gonna do a little bit more. I do want to pack it in a little bit. Make sure we have the full amount we need. It's another half or a third of this sweet potato should probably get us where we're going. Yep, it does it nice solid 4 cups. Now we're gonna whisk in our melted butter. And in with all our sweet potatoes. Then we're gonna get those mixed around and make sure they're all broken up and even, and a little custard base on everything. It's gonna look a little soupy, but it's gonna bake up and set really nicely. So we're gonna grab our buttered baking dish. Now we're gonna even this out so that everything's nicely submerged and covered. Don't need that pile of sweet potatoes right in the center. Get it out to the edges. All right, so this is going in a 350-degree oven. It's gonna bake for about 55 to 65 minutes. It does take a good bit of time, but these are raw sweet potatoes. Definitely don't wanna do this with cooked. It definitely changes the texture too much. But super easy, 5-10 minutes, put it together, and then let it go in the oven. All right, so our sweet potato pudding is done. Hot, bubbly, ready to come out of the oven. Nice golden brown top. Generally gonna let this rest for a bit before at least all the bubbling and stops. You wanna make sure your potatoes are tender before you take them out, but these look good to go. So our sweet potato pudding is done. This is a great side dish for your Thanksgiving table. Go great with a turkey, but also some roast pork. We're just gonna do a nice big serving here, sort of cutting it out. Looks good. So to finish this, you can serve it just like it is, but I like it with a nice dollop of mascarpone, nice sweet cream flavor, and another little grating of nutmeg.